what's going on, folks? Ty from BreakerCulture, proud members of the Bench Clear Media team. As you can see from that little intro clip, we had a hard time naming this video because there's so many stereotypes with the buzzwords being used in the hobby these days. Investing, can't use that. Collecting for profits, cannot use that. Top 5 buy sells, we're all annoyed with that crap. So we thought, you know what? We want to blend some of this together using each of our financial backgrounds. And we want to approach this and provide some sort of strategies, advice. So we thought, you know what? Let's do things a little bit differently. Let's give each of us a mock $25,000, and let's talk about how we would construct a portfolio of sports cards. Again, each of us comes at this from a little bit of a different economics, financial background, but we all love sports cards. We got Joe, SilverJackify, Mike, baseball collector, and myself. We thought, you know, let's have a little fun. We get that all of this talk of profiting in sports cards and sports card appreciation, which we should all be okay with, right? Appreciating sports cards is a great thing. We're all enjoying that. But we don't want to do this under the context of here's the 2 or 3 guys you should buy because you're going to sell them tomorrow. That's not the idea. The idea is if you're looking at sports cards and you're building out a collection or building out a portfolio of cards that you hope will appreciate in value, let's talk about how you can balance risk, balance some of the stability of sports cards, bring in vintage, bring in modern, bring in different graded cards, and put together a really strategic portfolio of sports cards. And so that's what we're doing. Now, we're going to do this under the umbrella of a portfolio. We're also going to have a little fun with competition. Each month, we're going to check in. We each have, again, $25,000, and we're going to see whose portfolio appreciates the most over the next 6 months. So you'll see that we all approach things a little bit differently, and Mike will explain the rules during the intro. But we're also, best part, going to let you partake in this, and you're going to see the giveaway that we're going to offer up for you. So watch closely. It's a great giveaway, and I think you're going to love participating and rooting each of us on and telling us what you think about the cards that we're adding into our collection. Now, each of these cards that we're listing, I'm putting links below in the show notes where you can just click those. If you want to go find them on eBay and grab them yourself, by all means, go do it. Go to StarStock, go use code BenchClear when you sign up for StarStock to get some free cash and enjoy the ride with us. We love sports. We love sports cards. And most of all, we love talking about the strategies and everything happening inside the sports card hobby. So enjoy the conversation. Have yourself a great week. But first, enjoy this word from our sponsors.
Do you have a valuable card collection, but you put 0 effort into storage? Do you keep your cards in a box like this?
Or like this?
Something like this? This? Ho, ho, ho. What are we doing here? You need Pastime Marketplace. Pastime Marketplace is the Mercedes-Benz of sports card storage. The cases come in a variety of sizes. They're waterproof, airtight, dustproof, and extremely durable. If you care about your collection, visit PastimeMarketplace.com and treat your cards to the storage they deserve.
Don't forget to use discount code BenchClear to get 10% off your order.
Yo and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector. I've got some guests tonight. We're just going to do a little talking. Joe, SilverJackify, the SilverJackify. What's up, Joe?
What's up, everybody?
And of course, Ty from BreakerCulture and Bench Clear Media.
Hi, guys.
The founder and CEO of Bench Clear Media.
Okay.
That's hey. Remember, you can't wear your hat backwards. You'll catch crap for it. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
We were on a live stream, Joe, the other night, and people were one guy in particular was busting Ty's chops for wearing his hat backwards. So
I'm like, well, you obviously haven't watched any of my other hundreds of videos because that's all I've ever done is wear backwards.
Should we go backwards tonight, Joe, for this? You can just see my bald head through the like I don't have any hair. So
Joe's pretty versatile. So he looks just as good with it backwards. Mike, you got to keep yours on.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do tonight, guys, is something that is I find it extremely fascinating. And we all know that in the world of sports cards today, the word investment, investor, whatever is being thrown around like it's, like it's easy. Like it's easy to be an investor in sports card. Anybody can do it. I mean, look, we've got this guy here, he's going to try. And so what we talked about doing was doing a little sports card portfolio challenge. And so each of us have built, I'm going to give you guys the rules. We're going to outline our portfolios, what cards we've picked, and kind of tell you how this is going to work over the next 6 months. You're going to get to follow along with us and enjoy what we've done. First of all, this is not any recommendation to buy or sell any sports cards. So this is just for entertainment purposes only. That's my disclaimer for all this.
Wait, we're not putting our real money in?
No, we're not putting real money in.
Except I might be putting my own money into some of the cards that I picked, or maybe what you guys picked, because you guys might end up selling me on some of these ideas unintentionally.
That might be some of the outcomes, and maybe you guys pick up some good ideas out there in terms of we're going to explain why we think what we think about the different cards that we've put on our lists. And so here's the rules that we outlined. I'm going to go over this real quick so y'all can follow along. But what we did was we picked a value of cards at $25,000 as of eBay prices yesterday. And so we're going to use eBay prices for this. We would use VCP, but unfortunately, some of the modern stuff isn't as tracked in VCP as much as we'd like. So we're going to simply use the last 5 sales of any particular card. We're going to throw out the high, throw out the low, and average the 3 in the middle in terms of determining values as we go through this process. We decided that we were going to do singles only, no wax. We weren't going to do wax in terms of building our portfolio. We had to buy at least 10 cards. Total number of cards 10. You could buy 10 of one card, but you had to buy at least 10 cards for your portfolio. And you can get cards from any of the 4 major sports: basketball, baseball, football, and hockey. And so that's kind of the basic rules that we used as we developed this idea. What are you showing there, Joe?
I opened up a box of Bowman Draft today, and I hit 2 Spencer Torkelsons.
Never going to make it. Never heard of them.
They're just the paper version. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me know when he gets in the Hall of Fame, then I'll buy his card. How about that?
He's already priced for the Hall of Fame, so he's basically already there.
Vlad Guerrero certainly was.
I figured you'd put your whole budget into Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah. So this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to price these cards once a month. We're going to do a video and kind of come on and hopefully talk about where we've been successful, good picks we've had, and maybe some things that, hey, we were either a little early on or completely wrong about. And we're probably going to give each other a lot of crap in the process, because that's what you do when you have a competition. You got to talk smack, right, Joe? King talk smacker, smack talker, whatever.
Going down.
So I'm going to propose something to you guys, because I'm kind of a gambler, kind of a betting man. Been known to put a wager down once or twice in my life, and I think I'm going to wipe the floor with you guys. So I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is and put something on the line for this. What do you guys think?
I love the idea, and I already know what we could put on it.
Well, go ahead. Suggest away.
The winner gets an authentic jersey of any player of his choice from the other 2.
Wow. Authentic jersey, player of his choice. Okay.
What do you think about that?
That's better. I was going to say cash, but hey, I like the idea of getting something kind of different for sure.
No, because I'll be able to get a Gleyber Torres jersey on sale if Joe wins. And you guys are paying a premium for Michael Porter Jr., so it's a great deal for me.
By the way, are we all drinking tonight? Or is everybody enjoying an adult beverage, I hope?
Yes.
Grape juice.
Okay, yeah, sure. Joe's going to be trying to touch my hiney all night, but
Let me just say too, like we went into this not just with the idea of doing a challenge, but the idea was, we talk a lot about investing. Let's approach this more systematically and help each other and our viewers understand what it means to put together a portfolio. Like, how can you approach this strategically? And in the midst of that, we're like, well, why not do a challenge? Joe's a perfect fit. Let's have some fun with it. But I think the point is, we want you to walk away with some little nuggets of advice for constructing a good collection of cards.
Yeah, and when you think about building any portfolio, I mean, I build portfolios for a living. That's what I do for clients. in real investments, not sports cards. I actually do things that actually are investment. I'm just kidding. People, I'm going to get a lot of crap for that, and I don't care. So the idea was, in any portfolio you build, you want to do a few things. I mean, modern portfolio theory, if you ever went, had an economics class or whatever, a personal finance class, basically you got to diversify, right? Joe, what does diversification mean?
It's a little bit of the aggressive stuff, maybe a little bit of the the more moderate kind of stuff. The interesting thing with this, though, maybe I'm like trying to cover my own butt, but I did kind of take, I don't know if you guys took of this, but so the idea of this is that we're I think what we agreed is in July, we're all going to see how we did.
Yep.
So I don't know about you guys, but when I buy cards, I look obviously as a collector as well, but then also I don't have any plans of selling in July. I usually buy cards more for the longer term. So there was a little bit of a difference in terms of the way that I strategized my portfolio and diversified my collection, because the thought was in July I'm selling. Right. That's the competition that the three of us are kind of dealt with is we're going to pick up to 10 cards. You said a minimum of 10 cards. And in July, we all go, okay, who had the biggest profits? So it is a little bit different, I guess, what I want to say than what I would normally select for a longer term portfolio.
Well, I'm already in trouble because I thought diversity in this case meant we had to pick a player from every country. So I did not approach this the right way.
Well, you'll at least have that kind of diversity. But we are going to be allowed, by the way, we're allowing ourselves once a month, we're allowed to trade cards. So if you have a player that's hot, once a month, when we get on our update video, we're going to do a video once a month, and we can trade a card. You can sell one thing and buy another with that money. So we're not locked into this portfolio for the next 6 months. It can be a little bit fluid. So if a player starts off, you pick a basketball player, for example, and they have a great January or something, you can go ahead and unload that, take the profits and invest in something else. And then the reason we're doing this time frame is because we got basketball about to start, in less than a month. You've got hockey season, you've got football playoffs coming into play here soon. You've got baseball season going to be starting all in this 6 month window. And it's kind of weird. It's all squinched together because of COVID, which is going to be great. And so it allows us to kind of play those seasons like you would want to. And that's how you would build a portfolio anyway. If you're buying a bunch of stocks and there's a bunch of news coming out on a stock, earnings or merger and acquisitions, M&A activity you're hearing rumors about or whatever, you can trade on that information. And it's the same way in sports cards. I'm just like you, Joe. I don't buy a card thinking I'm going to sell this 6 months later. I buy a card and it goes literally in the beast and hopefully stays there until I don't exist anymore. But that doesn't mean that there isn't money to be made in cards. And there's no question that people are doing that. And so I'm a collector, but I understand the investment side of it. I get it. I don't even necessarily agree with it. I just understand it. It's like, I get it. There is money to be made in cards. And so we want to kind of give you guys an idea of how we think about it and why. So I'm going to start, Ty, with I've got everybody's portfolio here. I'm going to pull it up in just a second. And we're going to start with Ty's portfolio because that's just the one I want to start with. So I'm going to.
Okay.
And while you pull that up, one of the I posted one of my latest videos, and one of my commenters mentioned that we're basically playing fantasy baseball cards, which is kind of it's kind of a cool idea, I love playing fantasy sports. This is kind of you're given a budget and we're all now drafting our team. So let's see what Ty's team looks like.
Yeah, and by the way, go check out Joe's video. You're doing top 100, right? And you're
Another top 100. Yes, it's my
Only
favorite.
the fifth time he's done it. Good
Yeah.
grief!
It's my favorite video to do, and so I kind of just do it, and if anybody watches, great. That's sort of how I take it.
Are you surprised, Joe, before we get into Ty's portfolio, how much that's changed over the last 5 years? Your top 100?
It's insane how much it's changed. Like in my first video I ever did 6 years ago, I was looking at the DiMaggio, which I had at number 1 6 years ago, is now I think I had it at 39. So it went from first to 39th. And then my number 2 card, the 64 Topps Mantle, went from number 2 like 6 years ago to like it was in my I think it was like 60th or something like that. So that's how much my collection has changed over the years.
Wow.
So yeah. And it also, like, you know, you guys know, like some cards fluctuate too. It's crazy. There are certain cards that from my last video that I did a year and a half ago that I have actually gone up in the rankings, just because some cards just have gone, especially 80s cards. Some certain 80s cards have like really taken off over the last year and a half. So that was
let's see if Ty picked any 80s cards. I'm gonna guess not, but
no. So let me set the stage here for my strategy. So I went into this and I probably had 40 or 50 cards that I am actively buying up, and I think are great buys from my perspective, right? But I knew I had to narrow it down because you didn't have the time to see all 50. So I categorize it into 3 categories. One is the surefire Hall of Famers, the guys that are playing now that I think no question are going to make the Hall of Fame eventually. And I try to allocate 40% of my 25K to those people. The next bucket is the high upside guys who have a little less risk, are a little more expensive, but still have a ton of upside from my perspective and are worth putting money into because I think they'll grow and they're not as volatile as these super high risk guys. So I put 40% into the high upside guys. And then ideally the last 20% was going to go to high risk guys that I'm just taking a shot at, that have nothing proven yet. And I'm hoping pan out. It ended up going 48% Hall of Famer, 43% upside, and a little less than 9% to high risk. So I'll walk through real quick. I don't know what can you see? Okay, you got it right here. You even adjust my values. Awesome. Okay, so my top 3 there are my super high risk guys. Chumo Kiki. I saw this guy play multiple times. He blew his knee out in college. A couple games before the end of the season at Auburn, and he got drafted by the Magic, and he's going to play this year. He's kind of this year's version of Michael Porter, who sat out a year, and he's coming in, and guy's ultra talented. You can get his PSA 10 base Prism rookies for $90. So I got 10 of those. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, another guy I like a lot of. Virginia Tech, didn't play a lot in college, but he had a ton of high upside playing with the Pelicans. Grabbed 10 of his PSA 10 rookies for $60 each. And then I went 1 baseball card. I'm super high on Bo Bichette. I think Bo Bichette's going to be awesome.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's funny. That's crazy. Like, so this is the first time I'm seeing your list, by the way. I haven't seen it until this. I did the exact same thing. I bought 10 Bo Bichette rookies in a PSA 10. That is crazy.
Awesome.
We'll get to yours, Joe. Don't worry. We'll get to yours.
No, but one thing that we got to figure out. But this is the first time I think that you got. This is the first time I've ever done this.
Yeah,
I think I paid more for my Bo Bichette rookies.
I adjusted your price for you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Mike took your. I saw that they're 50. I saw them selling for 55 the other day, and I'm like, holy crap, that's cheap.
I'm with you.
Cool. All right. So those are my 3 long shots to a certain extent. My 3 Hall of Famers. Look, Luka Doncic's got a long career ahead of him. I'm not saying he's guaranteed Hall of Famer. He's on track to be one of the best of our generation. I had to take part in Luka Doncic. The best way I think is grabbing his optic rated rookie. His PSA 10 number 177 is only $450 compared to dropping, $800-900 for his base Prism. So I grabbed 10 of those. I grabbed 1 PSA 10 2009 Topps Steph Curry rookie for $4,800, and I grabbed 5 Aaron Rodgers rookies, who I think is the most underrated quarterback to buy right now in football. You can get 10 of his tops, 2005 tops card for $570 each. So I grabbed 5 of those. So those are my 3 kind of Hall of Famers. They are obviously more expensive. Let me turn that off. All right. And then finally, my upside guys, the guys that I just really love and I believe in their future. Obviously, I'm a big Porter Jr. fan. I had to put my money where my mouth is again. So I grabbed 15 Prism base rookies of Porter, Mizzou Tiger guy, plays in the Nuggets. Ronald Acuna Jr., I think he's priced pretty well now, $160. You got Juan Soto, who's well over 200. So to me, I think that at 160 is a pretty good buy. Trey Turner, the most undervalued shortstop in baseball. I grabbed 10 of his 2016 tops rookies for $75. Mind blowing to me. Guy bats 280 a year. Baker Mayfield, I'm a believer.
Interesting.
Baker Mayfield. I didn't keep obviously not a lot of football in here, even on my master list. I don't have a lot of football. I think football is really overpriced right now. But Baker Mayfield for his Prism base at 220, PSA 10, I think that's incredibly cheap. Zach Levine is a guard for the Bulls, who is extremely underrated. And this year, when he's coupled up with Kobe White, is going to be really fun to watch. It's 2014 Prism base, super low pop. It was really hard to find those cards, especially in PSA 10. If I could even grab 4 of them, I would do it. The last sale was at $375. I would grab 4 of those right now. Jonathan Isaac out for the year. Incredible player. He's going to be back next year. I feel like getting in at 65 is a great deal. And then I know Luis Robert. Why would you grab this guy? I think his pink refractors, chrome pink refractors number 60 at 155 are a great buy. So I grabbed 5 of those.
Why the pink refractor? Just out of curiosity.
Well, because there's less of them, and the pink refractors always tend to do pretty well. It was one of those like, let's weigh the risk to reward. And I felt like that was the best. I just don't believe in buying a base right now when there's going to be 25,000 on the pop report in the next 6 months.
I actually have a Luis Robert pink refractor with PSA right now. Cheers.
Yeah.
Nice.
And of course, it's going to be a PSA 10. We know that.
Of course. Joe, you ready to reveal your portfolio to everyone?
By the way, so this is great, even for me, I had no idea that the Aaron Rodgers rookie was so low.
Right?
That's insane.
It's insane.
So I might have to go and get myself an Aaron Rodgers rookie card based on this.
I think you guys should critique this, by the way. I want to hear your thoughts before you switch to the next guy.
Good point. I haven't even heard of like 5 of the guys on your list. So I'm not going to, but I'm not I love basketball, but I'm not following the guys I know who Michael Porter Jr. is, of course, Steph Curry, Luka, but some of the other guys I don't know. I think Baker's an interesting choice. I really do. Can he become a superstar quarterback in this league? Time will tell, but I don't see it, but I think there is some upside, if he could figure it out. I like how you went with the Luka and you went with the optic versus the Prism. You'll see my list in a little bit. I thought that was an interesting thing. What about you, Joe? Any observations?
No, I guess the fact that there's some names on here that I don't recognize would lead me to believe that some of this is a little bit riskier than maybe what I'd typically go for. But then again, this, considering that the idea of this is to try to have the biggest profit by July, it makes sense. It's more aggressive than maybe what I would normally go for. Like most of the cards that I buy tend to go more on like you'll probably even notice this with my picks. They're more on the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Whereas a lot of I may not know a lot about basketball, but there's no way Chuma Okeke is a GOAT.
Real quick on Chuma Okeke, we always crack it up because my boys, one day we were opening the packs and my oldest Jackson was like, "Dad, you mind if I call him Chumi a cookie?" We call the guy Chumi a cookie around the house.
That's actually pretty good. I like that.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
All right, Joe. So good list, Ty. And again, you'll be able to, like all of us, be able to trade cards once a month throughout this process. Here we go down to Joe's. Joe, why don't you tell us about your portfolio that you built?
All right. All right, so we started off with the first pick I had to go with was the LeBron James. If you guys watch my channel, I do every month, or for a while there, I was doing differences between the prices every month. There was a point where that LeBron James, the 2003 Topps number 221, was selling for $8,500. It had gone to $8,500 in August. Then he went ahead and won a championship with the Lakers, and now his cards are going. That exact same card is selling for $4,100. To me, that's a no-brainer. Anytime you see one of the greatest of all time, their cards go to $8,000. That means that people are willing to spend that amount of money. And so just a timing thing. I know that a lot of the reason why his cards are so low might have something to do with, some of the politics that he got involved in. But I think people are just going to see that price is way too low for a card that at one point was going for almost double. Well, actually more than double what it's going for now. And then when the basketball season kind of picks back up again, there's no reason why the Lakers can't win another championship. So
how are they not? Shouldn't they be the favorites? I mean, I think they're, I know Steph Curry is going to be back, but I mean, you got to say the Lakers are the favorites until something different happens.
Yep. Next card, the Patrick Mahomes. That's just me going. I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl again this year. What they did to the Dolphins the other day, they were Dolphins were up 10-0, and then the Chiefs just put the smack down after that. It's just a sign of a great team that they're even with a little bit of adversity, it doesn't even faze them. They've had a couple of close games, and they just seem to win all the time, even when it's close. They either destroy teams, or they handle adversity really well. And I just think people are just going to go. I think the Mahomes Prism has an easy chance of going well over $10,000 at this point. So I picked up a Mahomes, thinking that they'll win a Super Bowl. That's a little bit risky, but I think even if they get knocked out, I think people will see the value of Mahomes possibly being throwing his name in the ring for greatest of all time, especially if he is able to pull off a second Super Bowl. Lindor, I kind of stole this a little bit from my boy Filmington. I know he mentioned Lindor, that he might get traded. I know the Indian, and if he gets traded to one of the bigger market teams, that's going to be huge for his cards. So I love Lindor right now. Any spot but Cleveland is going to just, and of course they're not the Cleveland Indians anymore. They're the Cleveland, who knows, the team to be named later. So I think it'll be good for his value if he gets traded. Barry Bonds, the thought there is that, with the Hall of Fame again coming up, there's going to be more and more talk about whether Barry Bonds belongs. And I don't care whether he gets in or not. I think just the talk about whether he deserves to be in or not is going to increase the value of his card. So I went with the Barry Bonds Tiffany, and I think this card's a little bit down too. The fact that it's under $4,000 is good. Jerry Rice, me and Mike were talking about that before. The fact that you can get the greatest wide receiver of all time in a PSA 8 for $200 is just if you don't own that card now, just go out and buy it. In a PSA 8 for $200, what is going on? By the way, in a PSA 9, that card is going for thousands of dollars. I forget how much.
Yeah, it's a couple grand.
Yeah. And the fact that you can get it in one grade under for $200 doesn't make any sense to me. So I figured, what the hell, I'll get two of those. Magic Johnson.
Hold on, Joe. I want to interrupt because I told you I bought that exact card at the Dallas Card Show last month, and I paid $170 for it, and I felt like I was robbing the guy. I'm like, I can't believe I'm buying this card for this cheap. This is crazy.
I had my eye on a PSA 9, and I'm glad I didn't get it because I realized I just let me look up PSA 8, and I was like, $200. So yeah, sometimes I don't get I get, if people really want the 10, but the difference between an 8 and a 9, I'm not sure if I get the difference there as much, but anyway, so the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but there is a documentary coming out about Magic Johnson next year. So that was my thinking there, that, maybe there's a documentary similar to the Jordan that kind of takes Magic Johnson's cards to the next level. The fact that there's Magic Johnson and Larry Bird on the same card, to me, is still one of the coolest things. Like, they're rookie cards of the two guys that, that anybody in America knows the name. Everybody in America knows Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. And the fact that you can get an 8, like a really high-end PSA 8 for $4,000, I think is still a pretty good deal for that card. Mookie Betts, the fact you can get his card under $400, I love it. He's going to be one of the favorites to win National League MVP this year. Ty pointed out the Bo Bichette. I love Bo Bichette. I think he's the best player from that 2020 crop, better than Luis Robert, better than Arozarena. I think, over the course of their career, Bichette's going to eventually push himself away from that group and set himself apart. So I love the fact that you can get his PSA 10 for $55. Lou Alcindor, again, back to the vintage basketball. The fact that you can get that's one of the coolest cards. I love the Mike. You and I were talking about the 1964 Giants Mickey Mantle card that I bought at the National, and the Lou Alcindor's kind of like that, a little bit bigger. It stands out a little bit, and I don't know. There's something about it that I really like, and I think it's a great price. The fact you can get a PSA 6 for $38.50, PSA 6s of some of the greats in baseball would cost you a lot more than $3,800. So I thought, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a fantastic value. I don't know if by July, if people are going to see that, I don't know if it'll have a ton of increase, but I think it's a great buy. It's definitely a great long-term buy. And then I just figured I had like $80 to spend, so I threw in a Juan Soto Heritage and a PSA 10 because he's Soto and he's going to be good, so it's not gonna it'll go up a little bit. So
I have an interesting observation looking at your list versus Ty's, and you have a lot more high-end cards. And think about investing, right? You're going with kind of the large cap, kind of the bigger cards.
Yeah,
Ty's going a little more small cap, and
right.
Again, there's different levels of risk with that, but you can buy a share of Amazon or you can buy a share of some small cap company for $10, right? You hope that company becomes the next Amazon. Right. And that's kind of how you think about when you're investing real money and real, in real, stocks and mutual funds and whatnot. And y'all have a different take. And I don't know that either one's wrong. They're just different, right? It's not a better or worse necessarily. You're going with some kind of, I'll call them tried and true players, right? Kind of the large cap blue chip type of guys.
Yep. And
I think and you have some guys that, Bo Bichette's still a relatively cheap rookie card because he's unproven. Even Juan Soto, some of Juan Soto's rookie cards. So I just think interesting observation. I like you got football, basketball, baseball. I think that's great. That's a good portfolio. Ty, what are your thoughts?
No, I think it's good. To your point, I love the fact that you have 3 anchor cards. Like the MJ Larry Bird card's a great pick. I love that. The Alcindor, you're probably right. It's probably not going to move much, but you got these anchor cards in there that are kind of hold steady your portfolio. But yeah, I'm really interested to see. I just approached it so differently where the sports card market's going to kind of dictate how our portfolios go. Because we got pretty solid players. I got a couple high flyers, but I didn't put a ton of money into them. But does the market drive vintage a little bit higher in some of those proven players, or does it keep inflating the younger kind of high upside players? That's to me going to be the difference between you and I. But I love it. The Jerry Rice card, I jotted that down. Like I got to get the Jerry. and to your point about Lindor, I think it's a great. If he gets traded to any like the Red Sox, the Yankees, any of those top 4 teams, like forget about it. Like that doubles overnight.
Yeah.
In LeBron, people will forget about politics. He's going to come out with Space Jam 2 next year. He's going to be relevant in people's mind again. Like $4,100. Are you kidding me? People are paying that for Zion. Like, get out of here. Like, I'll take LeBron all day long.
Yeah, my big thing, my two best purchases I made maybe in my collecting career was buying the Jeter that I bought in a PSA 9 earlier this year and the Tom Brady Chrome that I bought in a PSA 10. And I did something very similar where I saw that the Jeter had hit like around $7,500 at one point, and then had dropped for some reason after he got in the Hall of Fame. His card dropped down to like $3,000 or something like that. And so I go, wait a second. What, like, he hasn't done it. Like he hasn't played a single game. Why would his cards go from 7,500 to $3,000? And it's something similar here where I'm seeing it just doesn't. If something doesn't make sense to me, that's an opportunity. Like the fact that LeBron's card was going for $8,500 in August. I get that people were getting into the hobby and didn't know what they were doing and spending too much money, but since then, all he did was win a championship. So there's no reason for his cards to just, fall. It's basically half of what it was at a couple.
Yeah.
Did we lose him? Did we lose Joe?
We lost Joe for a minute, but I don't know when he comes back. Maybe I'll cut this. There he is. You back, Joe?
Yeah, sorry.
I'll just say, I think that's a good point in that we tend to forget that it does, supply and demand still dictates a lot of cards, not just necessarily performance. It's hey, some of the guys that bought LeBron heading into the season, they need to sell them to get money to go buy these other players. And when they sell them, it drives down the price a lot of times because a little bit less demand. And it's an opportunity. I think that's a really good point. Like opportunity doesn't mean like the performance dictated it. It just means like maybe the market dictated it and there's an opportunity.
So there's a financial term for that when you kind of go, wait, this should be valued more than it is. That there's an arbitrage here, right? There's a disconnect in what the prices were, what the prices are, and it doesn't make any sense. And I think it's awesome that you're taking advantage of it. Speaking of taking advantage of the LeBron situation, let's go to my portfolio. Let me insert a few lines here just to make this to where we're not seeing ties down here. Okay, so I went with a much smaller condensed portfolio, I guess, than you guys. And that's, again, I think you guys were smart in spreading your money out among players a little bit more. I kind of put my money into some, a smaller portfolio of a smaller number of names. But I picked the Juan Soto Topps Update rookie, just the base rookie, the paper rookie. I was trying to decide between that and the Chrome, and
made a good decision.
What's that?
I think you made a great decision. Sorry, go ahead.
So I just went with base. I think at $200, those are nowhere close to where Acuna's rookie is, and I think he's better than Acuna. So I see that going up a little bit, especially if he starts the season really hot, which he might. So that's why I chose, and I did 5 of those. Then I went with the silver prism on Luka, but I didn't go with the 10. I took a 9. I took 2 of them, as a matter of fact, because I think the 9s are going to become the new 10s. I think people are going to get so priced out of the 10s and they want a nice Luka silver. Oh man, the 9s are only, 1/5 of the cost of a 10. Let's just do that. And I think that'll drive the prices of some of those really key 9s. It's not going to be all of them, I don't think necessarily. I just think on some of the key cards, if you are willing to go down a notch in terms of grade, you can find some real value there. So I took the 9 on the Prism Silver for Luka. I agree with everything Joe said about LeBron James. I totally agree with. I went with the Topps Chrome though, and not the base card. And I also went with a 9 because the Topps Chrome and a 10 is what, a $15,000, $20,000 card, Joe? I can't remember what it is now. Mm-hmm. It's a lot, more than a 9. And a 9 at $4,000, I go, okay, I can maybe make some money on that, if I was to do that. So I did that. Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger is an odd year kind of guy. 2017, amazing year. 2018, not so great. 2019 wins the MVP. 2020, right? So I think 2021 is going to be another year for Cody Bellinger to really stand out. I'm hoping that he follows the same pattern. And so I went with not just his base rookie card, I went with his rookie autograph, because I think that'll just be a sought after card if he has another hot start to an odd year season. And I actually did 3 of those. And then I went old school, guys. You know me, and I try to tell clients this all the time. Again, I'm not trying to give investment advice here, but buy what you know. I tell clients if you drink a lot of Coca-Cola, buy Coke stock. If you wear Nike stuff all the time, buy Nike stock. If you shop at Walmart or Target, buy wherever you shop, buy that stock. Buy what you know, because it's, whether or not they're a good company or not, that's a different issue than just the comfort factor of buying something that you're not just buying something because you heard a hot tip at the water cooler. You're buying something that you're familiar with. And that's kind of what I did with the vintage. I had to go vintage with some of my portfolio because it's what I know. And because I know it so well, I can go, look, I think these X number of cards are underrated. And so the first one I picked was Sandy Koufax rookie. I picked Koufax, Aaron, and Mays. I picked 3 of one card of each of theirs. And it's because they're all in their 80s. At some point, they're going to pass away. I hope it's not anytime soon, but we don't know. And so I thought, well, even if Koufax doesn't pass away, I still think his rookie card is way undervalued. And you can get a 6 for $2,500. That's way less than Mays, way less than Aaron, certainly way less than Mantle, obviously. And even, a lot of the other big guys from the 50s. So I thought that was a good pickup at $2,500. I bought 2 of those, actually. The Hank Aaron rookie, we say it all the time, me and my friends, it's never a bad time to buy a Hank Aaron rookie. And so I went with a 5 on that and it's $4,000. I just think that's kind of that collector grade that people will look for and want to get. The 8s and the 9s, most normal human beings are priced out of those cards already, unless you're Nat Turner and he has like 4 of them. But the rest of us need to have budgets, and $4,000 is a lot for one card, but you can pick up a nice 5 for that. Willie Mays, same story, really, still alive. And I think one of his most undervalued cards is his 53 Tops. It's just such a gorgeous card. I think his rookie is obviously his rookie, so there's some hype to that naturally. His 52 Tops was featured in Project 2020, so that got a lot of hype. And I think people are gonna, again, they're just gonna move along this thought process of Mays. Man, his 53 Tops card is pretty cheap, relatively speaking, to the other ones. And then, is it ever bad to buy a Mickey Mantle card, Joe? Ever bad idea?
No,
never a bad idea, right? Never a bad idea to buy Mickey Mantle. And this was actually on the Christmas gift. Remember that, Ty? I was talking about if you're $500 or less, I said, find a Mickey Mantle under 5. I mean, you're never going to go wrong with buying a Mickey Mantle. And so I think one of his most underappreciated cards is his 56 Tops. It might be one of his prettiest cards that he has, period, is the 56 Tops. It's such a great baseball card. And I went with a 4 on that just because that's the price I could afford with the amount of money I had left in my budget for the $25,000. I would have loved to go a little bit higher, but that's what I had. And again, I'm a big believer in these I'll call them lower grades of the vintage stuff, having some room to grow, having some room to run, because again, I think people are getting priced down to that level, if that makes sense. And so that's what I did with my $25,000 right there. Thoughts, criticisms?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. So first thing, I think it's funny that this is the first autograph we have on any of our list.
No, Joe had one.
Oh, what'd you have? Which autograph?
Lindor.
Lindor.
Yes, you did. But yeah, so 2 of the 30 cards that we had are autographs. I think it's a reminder that we overvalue autographs a lot of times when it comes to like holding cards in our portfolio or investment closets. I'm really interested to see how this does in 6 months. Very, very interested, because this is completely different. It's just a stable, stalwart type. These are the names. I'm going to stick with them. Doesn't matter. I just don't see how they go up. I don't see how it shoots up. unless the market just completely goes bonkers in the next 6 months.
But then wouldn't everything else go up too? That's the problem, right? And look, the good news is we can trade once a month. So I'm not going to say that
That's fair.
Yeah. And that's the other thing I try to tell people, don't be greedy. If you should buy any investment with the idea of where do I want to get out? What's my exit strategy, right? Ty, I've talked about this privately. Like, you need to have an exit strategy.
Yeah.
If the Juan Soto goes to $500 right before the season starts, I'm getting out of it. I can tell you that right now. I'm going to sell it because I'm not going to wait for maybe he gets injured, maybe this, maybe that. And so I'm going to be happy with making 300% or 250% on that card. I'm sorry, that's not right. If I went to 500, I'd make 150%. Sorry. So I'd be really happy with that. And I'm not going to be greedy. I'll move that money to some other card. And so I think people ask me all the time, well, don't you think it's going to keep going up? And the answer is, I don't know, but I know it's up now. So why wouldn't you sell it? That's kind of the mentality I try to get people to think. And it also works on the downside. If you have a card that doesn't work out, you need to admit you were wrong and move on. Go to the next good idea, because you're not always going to be right. And people think everything's going up. Really? Not necessarily. So, Joe, what are your thoughts about my portfolio there?
No, would you guys, I'm curious, like, I guess I kind of, based on the 3 portfolios, my opinion is that Ty's is the most risky, that mine is somewhere in the middle, and that Mike would be the least risky. Like,
I would agree with that.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
It lines up with our ages pretty well too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's interesting. And so, like,
30.
So the it really comes down to whether you think the way to go is your blue chip vintage cards, or if you think a portfolio of vintage and a little bit of riskier cards, guys that are playing right now is the way to go, or if you think something, Ty, you had a couple of blue chip cards in there, but there was a lot more risk in your portfolio. So it really comes down to, where you think the market is. And like right now, if anybody's paying attention right now, vintage is killing it right now. So, and the next couple of months, if the trends continue the way they are, Mike's portfolio is going to do the best of the 3 of ours. But with that being said, basketball is going to start picking up very soon, and baseball is going to start picking up. And what you're going to see, unless you reallocate, which might be great to be all vintage right now, within the next 3 months, you may want to reallocate if you really want to take advantage, because people are going to shift their attention from vintage back to modern, which is, we just saw it with baseball, where as soon as the baseball season was kind of coming, unwinding, and people started focusing then on basketball and on vintage, and so I think that's where we're at right now. Is a lot of people are focused on vintage and football, modern football.
One of the coolest things I think about this period is I don't think anyone has a monopoly on good ideas. And that allows for people to have a conversation and discussion and go, man, that's an interesting thought. I can't tell you how many times I've added a stock to my portfolio because I've heard someone else talking about it. Maybe I wasn't as familiar with it, but I get educated about it. I go do my own homework, my own research, and I go, you know what? I'll add a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that kind of thing. And the great thing is nothing keeps any of us in this challenge from next month buying one of the cards we picked originally. Mm-hmm. We can do that. It's not stealing an idea. It's agreeing with an idea. It's not people, I think, oh, well, he stole that idea. Like, I'm going to do my top 100 video, Joe, and people are going to say, I'm stealing the idea from you. And you'll go, no, go ahead. That's pretty awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I want to like. Well, I do these, do these types of videos because I enjoy it. And then I'm hoping that other people will do it too. So please do it, because I enjoy those types of videos. But
And as we're building this portfolio, we may go, wow, that's a good pick, Joe. And I'll go, man, I'm going to hop on that bandwagon with whatever card it might be. And you won't get all of the upside because it will have already happened to some degree, but that doesn't mean it's over. It just means you won't make as great a return as you would have had you gotten in on the ground floor when the ground floor on all sports cards was about 3 years ago, but we all, we were in on that, but not as much as I would buy a whole lot of different stuff. If I could go back 3 years.
Oh my God.
We'd all make a lot of money.
I would unload every IRA and 401k I've ever owned and buy,
I was Mike, speaking of which, I went to the National in Atlantic City, New Jersey, about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I did some footage, and with the camera, I looked down at some of the I don't do this, by the way. It'll make you mental. But what I did is I would be focusing on a particular display case, and you could see all the prices, and I paused the video. And there was one particular one where it was all Mike Trout rookies, and they were going for $150 a piece. And I was just like, oh my God, if all I have to do is go back 4 years, and I could buy that entire display case and be able to retire tonight.
Speaking of Mike Trout, none of us had Mike Trout in our portfolios. Why is that?
That was another point I had. We didn't have Jordan. We didn't have Brady. We didn't have Trout. How interesting is that?
And yet a lot of us kind of shared in a lot of
LeBron, Bichette.
LeBron, right? But the fact that you got 10 Bichettes, that's just weird.
That's funny. That's funny. For sure.
That's crazy. But it's interesting. Yeah, I guess for me, it was more about the 6 months, I think, for me than anything else. The fact that I don't know how much room there is to Jordan's already gone. His cards have gone so crazy. I just don't know if there's that much opportunity right now. Same thing with Trout. I think people are just expecting Trout's gonna win another MVP next year. He's already the favorite. I looked at the Vegas numbers. He's already favored, and he's plus 150, and then the next guy's plus 500. That's how much of a favorite he is to win the American League MVP next year.
Wow!
So it's insane. And then there was another guy that you mentioned,
Brady.
Brady, right? Same thing, same concept. I just don't think the Buccaneers are winning anything this year that will really add to his legacy at this point. I don't know about you guys. I just don't think the Buccaneers are going anywhere.
I agree. That's why I went with A-Rod instead.
Yep. They definitely – that would be impressive if Aaron Rodgers wins a Super Bowl.
Oh, that A-Rod. Sorry, I thought you.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you got the data in front of you, Mike.
No, I was thinking Alex Rodriguez, not – I think baseball, man. I don't think football and basketball and all this crazy stuff. But
so, side note on A-Rod. So that collection I bought, I did a video on it, and I'm doing a second video, and I'm going through these, and this guy was like, so Joe, I bought this collection from a guy that died, and he was a massive A-Rod collector. He has thousands of Alex Rodriguez's.
Wow.
You better hope he gets in the Hall of Fame.
What's that?
You better hope he gets in the Hall of Fame.
Right. I'm like, oh my gosh, are that cheap?
Right.
I like it. I kind of like it.
Yeah, maybe.
I've actually thought about buying his SP card, a higher, but I don't know. But then I see other cards I want.
Right.
Well, guys, thanks for, we need to wrap this up. We've been going almost an hour. I hope if you stuck with us, I hope you just enjoy this idea. We're doing this just for fun. There's no real money on the line, and we're not really buying these cards, but we went into it with the mentality that if I did have $25,000 just plop into my lap, and I had a 6-month time horizon, what would I buy? And I think you guys did a great job picking your portfolios, good diversification. Kudos. Thanks for doing it, Joe. Thanks for being a part of this, man.
That was fun.
Hey, clarification on the trade. Are we saying one trade per month on a certain day?
You can do your whole portfolio if you want.
Okay.
On the 15th of January, you'll have our first trading day. Because today
on one day you can make trades for any spot. Okay, it's one day. That's just sure. Cool.
So you can think through it and you can go, you can rotate out of your entire portfolio if you want.
Okay. I mean, we got.
Okay. Yeah, I misunderstood that too. I thought it was only one card, but okay.
No, I thought. Cool. Okay. Now this is important. I got a high end Bobby Witt Jr. or Michael Porter Jr. I go with the juniors, guys. You can see.
Right. But I hope everybody follows along. Again, we're doing this for fun. There's a, what are we doing? An authentic jersey to the winner.
Yeah.
With the player of their choice. So
I wonder, is there any way to put like a little for people to vote, like who they think, which portfolio they want to go with?
Oh, that's a good idea. That should be another giveaway, Ty.
You think I'm just made of money? I can just print off these gifts?
I think. All right, look, what if we each put in to the winner, to the wing, like we'll have everybody, you have to pick, right? And you have to get all your comments in. When's this video going to come out, Ty?
Thursday. So
okay, so today we're recording this on a Tuesday. So by the end of the weekend, Sunday, which will be, what day will that be? That's a good idea, Joe. The 20th. So by December 20th, you have to have a comment in with which of the three of us you think is going to be in top in 6 months. You're going to have to wait a long time to find out if you're right. But what do we want to, like, maybe we pool, like I'm willing to put a little money in the pot.
How do we do this? We take all those comments.
Right.
The people that pick the winner, we randomize one name, and they also get a jersey of their choice.
Ooh, I'm willing to pony up for that.
Yep.
We can pay for that. Come on. That's nothing.
Yeah, we can do that. I think that'd be fun.
It's got to be a cheap fake one. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
then they can follow along. They'll have a vested interest in trying to pick the winner. That's a great idea. Good job, Joe. Way to spend our money. Thanks, man.
After just this one video, I'm down like $500.
Right? We haven't even, nothing's happened yet.
500 real dollars.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Follow along, like and subscribe to Bench Clear if you haven't yet. We appreciate it, and you'll be seeing all the videos here. We may come onto Joe's channel and do a special video for him to give him a lot of crap about how bad his portfolio sucks.
And don't forget, chew me a cookie.
Chew me a cookie. Thank you. I'm gonna go buy a prism of him right now just to boost your prices for your portfolio. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one and keep collecting.